Welcome to this explainer of the AI Mob School Blueprint. Today, we're diving straight into something a lot of people totally misunderstand. We're going to prove to you that short-form video clipping is actually a highly structured, scalable business. It is definitely not just some luck-based side hustle. If you've ever scrolled through shorts and thought, wait, how are the pros actually turning these views into real sustainable income? Well, you're in the exact right place. We're going to break down the whole shebang, the systems, the math, and the creative workflows that actually separate the pros from the amateurs.
I really love this foundational quote. Attention is valuable. A skilled clipper knows how to find it, shape it, distribute it, and connect it to a business result. Look, our goal here isn't to chase those fleeting, random viral views, right? Virality is just fleeting. Instead, what we want is to build repeatable skills. We want to produce useful, monetizable attention for a clear audience and a very specific offer. Once you master that, you stop relying on the algorithm's mood swings and you start relying on a solid business system. So to build this business from the ground up, we're going to cover 5 key areas today. First, redefining professional clipping. Second, 5 ways to earn. Third, the professional setup. Fourth, anatomy of a strong clip. And finally, number 5, AI tools and quality control. Let's get right into it.
Starting right off with Section 1, redefining professional clipping. We really need a massive perspective shift right out of the gate here. Because the difference between an amateur and a professional, that is exactly where the profit lives. Professional clipping is all about storytelling, strict compliance, and rigorous permission checking. It means using authorized content, pulling a complete, cohesive idea, and adding accurate captions with intentional pacing. That is a night and day difference from the spammy, amateur reality of weak reposting. You know the ones. Stealing copyrighted footage, completely stripping away the context, and just slapping a giant watermark on top while praying to the algorithm gods. Seriously, professional clipping builds a legitimate business. Weak reposting? Well, that just eventually gets you banned.
All right, moving on to Section 2, 5 ways to earn.
So, as a clipper, you basically have 5 primary monetization lanes to choose from. First up, campaign payouts. That's where a creator or brand pays you a set rate for your approved views. Then you've got an editing service, where direct clients pay you per clip or on a monthly retainer. Beyond those two, there's platform monetization, affiliate sales, and own product sales. Now, performance campaigns are an absolutely fantastic place to practice and, get those first few dollars rolling in. But shifting over to a direct client editing service often gives you way better control over your scope and your pricing. Plus, it builds that holy grail, reliable recurring revenue. You aren't just sitting there at the mercy of a campaign budget suddenly drying up.
Okay, let's talk math. The CPM, or cost per 1,000, math for performance campaigns is actually beautifully straightforward. You literally just take your approved views, divide that number by 1,000, and multiply it by the campaign's rate. Boom. It's absolutely essential to wrap your head around this formula so you can accurately project what you might actually earn, instead of relying on those crazy, confusing claims you see all over social media. So what does this look like in the real world? Well, if you hit 100,000 approved views at a $4 CPM, you're looking at $400. Hit 1 million views? That's $4 grand. But, and this is a massive catch here, you must always read the campaign brief. Campaigns are famous for enforcing strict maximums per clip, limits per creator, or total budget caps. Basically, a sky-high view count does not automatically guarantee a massive payday if you haven't followed the specific rules laid out in the brief. Make sense?
Next up, Section 3, the professional setup.
Listen, if you want clients to treat you like a professional, you have to organize your files like a high-end agency. Check out how deliberate this folder structure is. You're intentionally keeping your permissions completely separated from your source files, and you have a dedicated folder just for reports. This setup is your safety net. It keeps all your campaign evidence completely safe if you ever need to appeal a platform decision, and it makes client reporting an absolute breeze. Imagine a client asking for an update and you aren't frantically clicking through your downloads folder. The data is just right there, exactly where it belongs.
And it's not just your files. Your online bio isn't just an afterthought either. It instantly signals to potential clients whether you're a serious pro or just a weekend hobbyist. You need a bio template that spells out exactly what your niche is, the specific source content you transform, the platforms you dominate, and a super easy to find portfolio link. No passwords required. You want to round all that out with a professional email address that you use exclusively for your clipping work, and for sure, lock that down with 2-factor authentication.
Which brings us to Section 4, Anatomy of a Strong Clip.
This is where the magic happens. Every single strong clip engineers a micro-narrative for the viewer. It's a 5-step journey.
First, you seamlessly pull them in with the immediate curiosity or tension of a hook. Then, you drop in the context so that moment actually makes sense. Next comes the value. Maybe it's a new idea, an emotion, or a life lesson. You follow that right up with a satisfying payoff that resolves whatever promise you made back in the hook. And finally, you guide them to a clear call to action, or a CTA. You don't necessarily need to state every single element out loud in the video, but the viewer has to feel this complete journey to stay engaged till the end.
So how do you actually know if your hook is doing its job? Before you ever hit export, you have to run what this blueprint calls the first test. Here's what you do. Play the very first 2 seconds of your video with the sound completely off. Now ask yourself, is the subject clear? Is the text actually readable? Is there a visually compelling reason to keep watching? If the answer is no, actually scratch that. If the answer is anything but a resounding yes, you got to go back and fix it. Your clip has to instantly grab attention on a tiny, muted phone screen because honestly, that's exactly how a huge chunk of your audience is going to experience it for the first time.
Moving into our final part, Section 5, AI Tools and Quality Control. We all know artificial intelligence is an absolute powerhouse for discovery and drafting, right? It's amazing for finding possible hooks, generating your initial captions, or reframing subjects. But here's the deal. A human being, meaning you, must always remain in the driver's seat. A human has to verify the factual accuracy, the intended meaning, and the legal compliance of the content. You simply cannot allow an AI tool to alter a speaker's actual meaning by removing vital context, or worse, completely fabricating a statement. Think of it this way. AI makes you incredibly fast, but human verification is what makes you a professional.
To guarantee that pro standard every single time, you've got to use a rigorous system. Running every edit through this professional quality control checklist is exactly what separates the high-earning strategists from the people just throwing spaghetti at the wall and hoping to get lucky on social media. You are checking for story clarity, fact accuracy, proper 9/16 vertical framing so literally nothing gets cut off by the app buttons, clean captions, balanced audio, brand compliance, and crucially, ensuring all your source permissions are securely stored. If a clip fails even one of these checks, it doesn't get published. Period. Zero exceptions.
Okay, to build a truly scalable business, you just can't rely on scattered, random effort. So as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with this final, challenging question straight from the blueprint. Which income lane will you choose for your next 30 days? Are you going to practice with performance campaigns, or are you going to go out there and pitch direct client services? Pick your lane, get your system set up, and start crafting attention that actually pays. So what's your next move going to be?